In this CBT Techniques video, I'm going to be giving an introduction on a whole new family of interventions that surround testing out thoughts. Yeah, in my other videos, I have been covering how to catch thoughts, how to measure them, how to identify them, label them, and this is really the starting point in CBT. What we're working with here is the idea that thoughts lead to feelings, and feelings have consequences. They have actions. They reinforce the beliefs we have, and in that working with that CBT triangle, stage one is what's the thought. In this stage also, we're also developing, yes, what does it feel like to feel that, labeling feelings as well, keeping in mind that diagram. The first step was the thought. Okay, now that we have that under our belt, the next family of skills are going to be reality testing, figuring out skills, strategies, ways of living where we can take those thoughts we're having, those thoughts that are creating anxiety, creating depression, and all the things that your client's suffering in, and now testing them. Now, these skills are really cool because one of the underlying ideas behind them is that we're conveying to the client is that it's okay to have a thought. Thoughts are just that. They're only thoughts. They're not reality. And that we can then, with whatever thought we're having, we can choose to figure out how realistic is the thought, how real is it in the world itself, and that we can do things to test out the thoughts we have that are troubling and to get out of that cycle of pain and depression and anxiety. The other principle behind all these techniques is the power of courage. That a lot of times, clients are getting stuck in their head, that they're lost in these thoughts and they're ruminating and they're just stuck. And being able to develop this way of getting out of your mind and back into your life and feeling the world around you is going to set a person free. But therein lies the rub, because a person has to have the courage to confront the things they fear. So these techniques are going to be taking into account that sensitivity, and that is something which is difficult, and they're designed to develop in small doses and small steps ultimately this bigger skill of being courageous. We're not in these sorts of techniques, we're not trying to be behavioral therapists. The idea here is not learn what life is. It's not building behaviors. Those skills are great, and I think you check out my behavioral therapy techniques videos, and you can get a lot out of that therapeutic tradition. CBT is different. We're not having a client develop experiments in session to test out thoughts in order to find new ways of living per se. That's a great side effect, and admittedly that does happen. But it's a great secondary goal. But the primary goal in CBT is using actions to challenge thoughts. Point. End. Period. That is the story. And the reason for this, the reason why I'm emphasizing why that's our only goal, is because a hallmark of CBT is its simplicity. There's a lot of therapeutic traditions, there's a lot of techniques out there, there's a lot of ways of doing things, and they are valid. The meta target in CBT is keeping things simple, though, so that the client can reuse all the skills that you help him learn in his daily life. And so you don't want to belabor and get bogged down in the thousands of different ways that you can approach these different techniques and think about them. The complexity, you leave that at the university door. You leave that with your supervisor. It's your job to give a simple and straightforward way of getting over these problems, something that your client can use and do alone in their real life. And so that's why we're limiting our focus to using actions, using experiments to challenge thoughts and leaving it at that. CBT is not about suppressing thoughts. It is not about suppressing feelings. CBT is about cultivating a healthy doubt and suspicion of the first thing we think, the first thing we feel. And in these techniques, in reality testing, evaluating actions, evaluating thoughts in the real world, well, what we're doing ultimately is we're in the lab. We're testing out to see, well, okay, it was fine we had that thought, but does that thought actually connect to the real world around us? If you like this video, you can go ahead and share it with your friends and click on like. If you want to send me a message, you can do so in the comment box or check out my website and shoot me an email. And if you want to support my work, you can check out my Patreon account. I'll see you in the next video.